And we're back with the last installment. The final, the ultimate, the last power ranking for season 30. Our top two, the Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. The two teams that made it to our championship game last season. The only two teams to win Man Bowls this iteration. I am the coach of the Arizona Cardinals and the reigning No Frills Tough Guy League Man Bowl champion. They're beautiful new, gaudy, heavy. It's actually not that heavy. Feels pretty good. And it's kind of pretty, if you're into that kind of thing. And the Chicago Bears, coached by Coach Bill. So what we're going to do first, before I tell you what the power ranking order is, which we'll do near the end, we're going to look over the roster changes for these two teams, which are two of the fewest because of our league rules. So first we're going to bring up the Bears. All right, so you can see that the Bears had two handicap trades to start this iteration. They had to trade away Donnell Wolford and Mark Carrier, and they traded them away for Ray Buchanan and Steve Atwater, where they lost interceptions and they picked up hitting power in both positions. It is definitely a downgrade for the team, but it works well, and Bill has done great with that downgrade. He traded away Rashawn Salam after the first season to get Rodney Hampton. That appears to be the only trade that he got. He then won season 2, and because he was the Man Bowl champion, he didn't get any trades after season 2. Season 3, I won the Man Bowl, beating Bill and the Bears. So he was able to get one auto trade because he couldn't get any successful trades through attempts, and he traded Curtis Conway away for James Jett, one of the fastest, or the fastest wide receiver in Tecmo Super Bowl 3 with 69 max speed. Free agency, though, you get to do regardless of whether you win or not. So he cut John Mangum, John Theory, and James Burton, and signed Dana Hall, Gilbert Brown, and Mike Davis. All sizable upgrades over some of the worst defensive backs in the game. That's my hand. Enjoy it. After season 2, he cut Carl Simpson, Barry Minter, and Greg McMurtry, whose name you will hear again later, and signed Santana Dotson, Godfrey Miles, and Nate Lewis. All, kind of middling, lower tier players across the board. But all great upgrades for the Bears, who love being able to rotate players based on condition. And then in this last season, he cut Kevin Minifield, a Fontenot, and a Johnson, and he picked up Michael Gillick, Bobby Wilson, and Blair Thomas. Again, same thing. This is all depth, clear up. He didn't get any real winners, but that's what happens when you're drafting at the end of the free agency period. Now we'll bump up the Arizona Cardinals so we can take a look at them. And this is my moves. I had the joy of having the most downgrades at 3, tied with the Niners, but mine were all at maximum values. So I ended up cutting Eric Swan for Jerry Ball, Clyde Simmons for Wayne Martin, and Seth Joyner for Derek Thomas, or LB Chiefs. I struggled in season 1, went on to win the Man Bowl though. Kind of learning how to play Arizona's offense a little bit better in man games, which I definitely struggled with early on. I cut Ed Cunningham, who is a very good offensive lineman, Terry Hogue, who is possibly the worst player in all of Tecmo Super Bowl 3, and Chuck Levy, who is a lower receptions wide receiver. I acquired Guy McIntyre, who is the best offensive lineman that starts in free agency and an upgrade over Ed Cunningham. I signed Rondell Jones, who's a 44 interceptions defensive back, and Aaron Bailey, who was an upgrade over Levy, but I didn't really use him for a whole lot except to cut him later. After Season 2, I was able to get a trade. I traded Mark Higgs away for Gary Brown, which was a massive upgrade and led me to win the Last Man Bowl as well. I cut Sean Wallace, Michael Gillick, and Chad Fan, picking up A. Langham, Clayton Holmes, and Walter Reeves. Walter Reeves was a Season 3 signing, but I didn't get any trades in Season 3, so I cut Chad Fan for Walter Reeves, Brian Reeves for Greg McMurtry, who I mentioned earlier, and Bernard Wilson for Chidi Ahanatu. A lot of these players are not good players, and the upgrades aren't good players either, but, they're upgrades. And I cut Aaron Bailey for A. Matthews. That was in Season 2. So those are the upgrades. It's not a whole lot for either of those teams. So let's talk about the two teams. The Bears. Hello again, everybody. You might be wondering, how did this beautiful man, how did he change his shirt? And I'll tell you. This is actually the third attempt I am making at recording this. The first time, we had some technical difficulties. And then the second time, we had further technical difficulties. And I had to do it again. So it got pushed off days, and this video is coming out later because of all of the shenanigans that I've had to endure. NFTGL 30 is only 4 days away. You'll be seeing this video sometime on Monday, and Friday at 10 a.m. we kick off our 30th season. So hopefully you guys follow us on Twitch, and if you do not, starting the week after, you will start seeing the videos on YouTube, where you're currently watching this video of my beautiful self. So let's get back to these power rankings. You just saw all of that roster review nonsense that I'm sure you've all come to love and appreciate my monotone kind of telling, and I want to get a little bit into the teams that we have here, and this is where where the issues came in. The first time this stopped working, so when I was doing things on screen you couldn't see it. The second time the game audio unmuted itself somehow and overrode everything that I'm saying right now, even though I didn't say any of this last time. So our top two teams, in no particular order, are the Cardinals, the Bears and the Cardinals, the Bardinals. Let's take a look. I'll show you the Bears first, because they're not my team, and we'll get into it. The Bears have arguably one of the best playbooks in the game. The Bears Playbook 1. It is just an absolute masterpiece, a work of art. It has 4 very, very good passing plays, each one sending a player deep. The bottom pass, though it doesn't look like it sends a player deep, that top receiver will, in fact, run a fly route, though it's got like a slight angle to it, but not one that causes overthrows, generally, or at least out-of-bounds throws. Every other play either sends wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 deep, and the right passing play gives you a nice curl. All of the running plays are great and functional against goal line, which is very important, especially in a competitive TSB3 environment like ours. Their playbook 2 is actually a decent playbook, and on any other team would probably see more use, but Chicago's playbook 1 is just so good that this playbook by default is just not as good, and therefore sees significantly less use. The big acquisition that the Bears got this season is James Jett. James Jett is the fastest wide receiver in Tecmo Super Bowl 3, whose receptions are also above 38. He's the only player in this category with 69 max speed and greater than 38 receptions. And he is a jump catching machine. But if the jump catch doesn't come, the possibility of throwing an interception is significantly greater than it is when you're throwing it to Michael Timpson. And I mention this because this is the biggest threat of the big play Bears, and that is their downfield capability. Both Steve Walsh and Derek Kramer are capable of throwing excellent jumping catches in their passes, and with this wide receiver tandem, it's even more significant, especially since now the Bears can potentially throw these jumping catches at both the top and bottom of the field at any given moment, making the deep play aspect of their offense even greater. To couple with that, the speed of Rodney Hampton, this Bears offense becomes really, really hard to shut down. And Bill knows how to make this thing tick, and also has his own unique way of throwing the ball where Bill likes to do these intentional ducks, long bomb ducks that can cause your defender to never latch on to where the ball is going. So the man-controlled defender, normally in Tecmo, when you're off screen and the pass gets thrown, will sometimes latch on to the pass and go to where the ball's going to land. In this case, it can cause the latch on to never occur, and you'll just not be where you need to be to try to stop the pass. Also, sometimes in the end zone, you can see just huge disparities in where the receiver's standing and the defenders are standing. It's glitchy, it's not consistent, but Bill's got a good feel for it. So that's something that he employs. Defensively, it's the same old story. It's two guys. He's got Buchanan and Atwater, and he lives and dies by those two guys. You don't get a ton of drone support. Any drone support that you do get in Chicago is just, help. Any help. And a lot of times you need it. The Bears play what I call a bend and don't break defense, and that's basically you're going to give up yards, you're going to give up plays. As long as you can just keep them out of the end zone, you're doing your job. And that's it. If you can do that, the Bears' offense is so explosive that they'll just, score on you. Couple that with their amazing return game, now having James Jett or Michael Timpson as returners, and both are fantastic. I expect to see Bill housing a lot of kicks this season and a lot of jumping catches downfield. So Bill having been to back-to-back Man Bowls now this iteration, it's hard to say that he won't go back again. His team hasn't gotten worse. His play skill hasn't gotten worse, though I don't believe he's put in any practice time this offseason because life's just been busy. So let's go and talk about my team, the happy Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals have two massive upgrades this iteration in Greg McMurtry, who was acquired out of free agency. In our league, the Man Bowl winner, myself, as you can see, depicted here on this beautiful belt. Beautifully, oh god, this thing's heavy. This beautiful belt. Greg McMurtry is one of my two monster free agent signings, and why I say he's a monster is that he gives me a trio of 44 receptions, wide receiver twos. And while that's horrible compared to pretty much any team but the Jets, it's helpful that I have a 3-player rotation for one slot, and I can just pick whoever's in the best condition, and they all play the same. They're not all exactly the same speed, but they basically play at the same speed, and their receptions are the same, and they all catch passes kind of in the same manner. Rob Moore's my wide receiver one, and he's not a jumping catch guy. He'll occasionally get them from Craig, but it's rare. But he'll get coverage catches occasionally. Arizona's a one setback team due to game glitch. I don't know if I covered that in the first half of this, but there's a coding glitch where Arizona defaults as a T formation and Philadelphia defaults as a one setback formation, and that was supposed to be reversed. So we play it as it's reversed. Terry Allen, who is a roster mod upgrade for the Cardinals in our league, I use as a slot receiver because he's got the max speed to be a jumping catch guy and a downfield threat that this team otherwise lacked. With his 44 receptions, he's on par with 3/4 of my receiving core. So he goes there, and then I had picked up Gary Brown, giving this team a legitimate threat at running back. His combination of speed and hitting power works really well, and I have been fortunate in the one season so far that I had him that the 44 ball control did not affect me very much. Part of that is by design, intentionally running out of bounds a lot, always trying to get to the sidelines. But a lot of the times when I did get stuck in field, he wasn't coughing up the ball. That could be completely different this season, who knows? But that was a big factor in why I won this past Man Bowl and did as well as I did during the season. I get to rotate him with Garrison Hurst, which is another factor into why I was able to be as effective as I was offensively. Garrison's, he doesn't have the 56 agility that I say that's really helpful, but he seems to play like he often does, especially when his condition goes up. So it could be one of those things where he just plays above his stats, or there's something else going on. I don't know, but Garrison definitely plays above his stats, it seems, at times. And then I've got Larry Sanders, who I can also play as a slot receiver, who's also really slow. So for this team, I don't think he's an ideal slot player. If I could field him at wide receiver 2, he'd be fantastic. He would be an amazing wide receiver 2 for the Arizona Cardinals. But our league rules prohibit using running backs at wide receiver 1 or 2. We can only use them in the slot or slash fullback position. So that's that. The other big signing that I got this past offseason is Walter Reeves. Walter Reeves is not a good tight end, but he has a one bump increase in receptions. So I gave up the blistering speed of Chad Fan and the ability to say I'm a fan every time he catches the ball for 25 receptions. And I don't know how I feel about it in practice. He definitely catches the ball a little bit better, and he's more interchangeable with Gaines, as they're both slow. Gaines is clearly worse in just about every way, but that's that. The other big factor in my success last season is that I discovered that whatever player you put at DB2 for the Arizona Cardinals, if you use that player as a kick returner, it seems that their max speed increases beyond what it should. And I tested that by using Brent Alexander, who otherwise shouldn't even be on the field, except for the fact that he's got 44 interceptions. And part of the reason he makes the field is because I have Rondell Jones, who's a slightly worse version of Brent Alexander. For a number of reasons, injury potential, and mainly because their hitting powers are a little higher, and I don't, we have a hitting power rule in the NFTGL. You're not allowed to play a player at kick returner with greater than 31 hitting power. So Brent here caps out at our hitting power value. So Brent, for me, I will play him in this wide receiver 2 spot, and Calvin Williams or Aeneas Williams gets played at the wide receiver DB1 slot, mainly because that's where most people's wide receiver threats are. So I'll usually field a starting lineup like this, and Langham, who otherwise deserves to be in my starting lineup, gets relegated to the DB5 slot. But what that does is it allows this, and then Alexander, who looks like a steamy pile of crap, generates speed. I like to call it the bowling ball effect, where an avalanche, like a snowball rolling downhill. But I just call it the bowling ball effect. Basically, what it is if you kind of circle around a little bit, make some cuts and moves, he starts. Sometimes players can generate speed on kick returns beyond what their maximum speed stat says it should be, and this is the combination that I found that works in Arizona. So DB2, I like Brent Alexander over Rondell Jones. I like Clayton Holmes. He works in there as well. He's another shitbag. And the main reason that I like using the shitbags, aside from the fact that it seems to work, is that if they get hurt, I'm completely fine with that. So I like, I don't like putting my superstars if I don't have to at kick returner and punt returner, because it just increases the likelihood that they get hurt, and that's just one of the ways that I try to mitigate injuries. So that's pretty much it. That's I could get into the rest of my defenses, but you guys don't need to have me go over every spot. The playbooks in Arizona don't look amazing. This playbook has a reverse and a flea flicker and a fake flea flicker. But this playbook actually works really well. It's the shotgun run is a really solid run. It's functional against goal line if you know how to use it. The shotgun pass is good. Both of the one setback formations, not the flea flicker, send the slot receiver deep, which for this team sends my fastest player deep, which is amazing. The running plays otherwise are good. The up run is solid and functional against goal line. I don't see a ton of goal line because I have enough passing acumen to generally beat that, which allows me to actually flex in and use my end around and my flea flicker pretty effectively. Both of those plays are completely uncallable against aggressive linebacker play, but at present in the NFTGL, I'm really the only person doing that. The Rams coach, Coach Dan, it used to be a big linebacker guy, but he's got a good linebacker now, but he doesn't like that guy as much as like Jesse Tuggle, who he used to have. So we just don't see a lot of linebacker play right now in the NFTGL. Playbook 2, I was not a fan of when I took over the team, and in my first season with them, I learned to love. Like, I figured out what this playbook is capable of in my first season, and it completely turned the season around. I ended up winning the Man Bowl, and I basically haven't stopped since. I won the third Man Bowl. I lost in the playoffs to Bill the season before that, and he went on to win the Man Bowl. But this playbook has become really the go-to playbook, I think, for this team, for me. This playbook just obliterates goal line defense. It's the running plays are all still very effective against dime safety play. They give you in those situations you get enough open field that you can make a lot of jukes and cuts and use your line to kind of help you get away from the defender. The only real problem with this playbook is the top play is the only play that really sends your best target deep. The bottom play will send wide receiver 1 deep, but wide receiver 1 for this team is Rob Moore, who's slow and doesn't really jive with Dave Craig's 56 passing speed. But it's really good for short passes, quick passes, underneath passes. And once you kind of get a feel for how to do that stuff and how to use that stuff, this playbook becomes, I want to say, almost unstoppable. Even with, the Cardinals offense that I have is not the base Cardinals offense. The addition of Gary Brown and Terry Allen just completely changed the face of this team. They're the big reason. They're the reason I've been successful this deep into an iteration with a team that starts out, kind of mediocre. So, who's going to win? Who's power ranked number 1? Who do I think has the inside track? I think that Bill is an absolute guaranteed lock to win his division. I just don't think anybody's going to step up and take that from him. He tends to thrive in that division, and I think that he'll win it and probably end up with the 1 seed again, like he did last season, which means the road to the Man Bowl is going through Chicago. There's just no two ways about it. My division, I think, is just an absolute crapshoot. Jordan, in seasons 1 and 3, was just absolutely dominant. He barely didn't win the division last season. I was able to eke him out because he kind of stumbled there at the end. I think that Jordan's going to come in locked in, and he's going to be in a good spot. But we've got Dan in our division. We've got the Rams in our division, who has had decent success against our division in the previous 3 seasons. So I think there's just going to be like we're all just going to beat each other up in our division. The Atlanta Falcons, I have split with them every season of this iteration. I just cannot seem to beat them, despite the fact that Joel misses the playoffs last season and ends up in the lowest spot, and still like I can't seem to pull it together. And he's actually been close to sweeping me, closer than I've been to sweeping him. So I think it's going to be a tough ride. I don't know who wins our division. I feel really confident with my team, and I think I have a legitimate chance, but I don't think it's a lock that I win my division. So in the end, I think part of it is when you have the belt, you generally don't come into it with the same tenacity. I know I don't. That you do when you don't have the belt and you want the belt. This was the first time somebody won this belt straight up. This was our first season, and I wanted it. I wanted it bad, and I had that fire. I think I absolutely make the playoffs. I think if someone wants this belt, they're going to have to beat me to get it. Whether that means in the Man Bowl or 4. But I think that it does mean it's likely that I probably won't face Bill until the Man Bowl. But we'll see. The 3 or the 6 seed will move on to play the 1 seed, and that's where I project Bill to finish. But I think come the end of the weekend, Bill is I think he's the number 1. I think he wants his belt. This is Bill's belt. Bill is the whatever word means he bought this. That's what Bill is. So I think Bill is the 1 seed. I think I'm the 2 seed in the power rankings. And I think if anybody wants this belt this coming season, it's going to be by beating Bill in the Man Bowl. I just think that that's the way it's going to play out. So good luck. Hopefully you guys are watching us in a few days. Stop in. If you do stop on, say hi. Say hi in chat. We love the interaction. We don't always respond to it right away because we're always goofing off. But we'll get to it. So if you haven't seen us respond, we will absolutely respond to whatever shenanigans or nonsense, as long as you're not disparaging us. Don't tell us we're fat. I know I'm fat. I have the loveliest moobs you've ever seen. And that is why you want to have sex with me. And Bill. Definitely Bill.